Got quite a few calls.
Good. You cold, Pat? It's gonna be a long winter if you are.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Green Lake Township Board of Trustees meeting to order on October 14th, 2025 at 5:30 PM. Judy, could you do a roll call, please?
Biondo.
Here.
Merrick.
Here.
Biganowski.
Here.
Kramer here. Radke.
Here.
West.
Here.
And McDonald.
Thank you. We have a quorum. If we could, before we stand for the pledge, if you have a smart device or anything that makes noise, I'd ask to put you on vibrate or mute. It would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there any member of this board wishing to add or remove, modify the agenda? If not, I entertain a motion to approve said.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. We got a motion by Merrick, supported by Biondo, to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which contains the minutes of September 9th, 2025, Treasurer's Report, and bills. Is there any member of the public wishing to remove any item? Any member of staff? Any member of this board?
I would just like to add, I did put a handout on the tables tonight. We did find one mistake in the minutes, the word summer. So that has been corrected, and so we can move forward with the minutes.
Killed a tree for that?
Small
You're
one.
You're welcome. I figured Sherry was going to catch that.
Hearing no removal other than the simple correction of summer, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the amendment.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the amendment of the minutes.
Second.
We got a motion by Merrick, supported by West, to approve the consent agenda as presented and amended.
So we're missing, are we getting minutes, or how's this working now?
Yep,
Magic.
What?
I'm doing minutes. Secretary's sick.
Any further discussion? If not, do we got to do a roll call on this, please?
Biganowski.
Yes.
Kramer, yes. Radke.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
McDonald. Biondo.
Yes.
And Merrick.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. At this point is declaration of conflict of interest. Does any board member believe they have a conflict? Hearing or seeing none, we'll move on to the next. Reports. We're going to get MDOT. We have representatives from MDOT here this afternoon. Would you please go to the podium?
Good evening.
Good to see you.
Thank you for inviting us to your meeting today. My name is Krista Phillips. I'm the operations engineer at the Traverse City MDOT office.
Hi, I'm Jim Johnson. I'm the construction engineer for the TSC Traverse City office.
Thank you for scheduling the meeting on the day we opened up US 31. Make sure everybody's in a good mood today. So obviously we are done, well, substantially done. US 31 is open for the first phase of the work. This first phase is basically getting us ready so we can start as early as possible in the spring with the major work next year. The contract that, for next year's work has not been awarded yet, but we know that the low bidder is the same construction company that did this year's work. So that's going to be J&N Construction is the lead. The work actually is not awarded yet because Green Lake Township hasn't signed their agreement yet. So I wanted to discuss that briefly with you. I know There are a few parts of that agreement that we need your approval on. Basically, that agreement is saying you agreed to pay for the water main work, which I know is the main issue because that came in substantially higher than what was estimated. It's also an agreement to maintain the sidewalk after it's constructed, maintain the lighting and the landscaping. One of the main concerns about that is that we can't start negotiating with the contractor until the contract is awarded. And once it's awarded, like if you guys were to sign the agreements and then we get the contract awarded, we can start negotiating with them. We can take the water main out of the project if that's what we need to do. We could try to talk to the contractor and see if there's options to get the cost reduced. Maybe there's a different material of pipe we can use that's not as expensive as the pipe that's specified in the contract, or we can make some modifications to it. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys tonight. We're happy to meet with your engineer too, outside this meeting and see, what we can do in the meantime. But the contractor does want to start doing some of next year's work as soon as possible, like some tree clearing and stuff that they were scheduled to do in the spring. So I wanted to bring that up. But the work next year will be similar but a little bit different. The detour, it's going to be split into two phases, basically. The east side from Go-Go Squeeze through the Signal in Interlaken will be the first phase. We front-loaded construction of the roundabout to try to get that part done as soon as possible because that's going to be the most really disruptive aspect of it is during the roundabout, you won't be able to go straight through J. Maddie to South Long Lake. So there'll be some different types of detours. But what will be different is that westbound traffic will be staying on US 31. So US 31 will stay open westbound for all westbound traffic. In all phases, it'll just be westbound. And then eastbound traffic will be using detours. The same detour as this year for eastbound. And then when we move to the west phase, which goes from basically like Wendy's, I guess, all the way to Reynolds Road, that will be in the latter half of the year after the east side's done. But it'll be a different detour. Basically, Reynolds Road will become the detour on the far west end. Same thing with westbound traffic staying on US 31. Some people call that southbound, but cardinal directions is west. And westbound staying on US 31 and eastbound being detoured. We are going to plan to have another public meeting where we'll be able to have some nice displays out, take questions from the public, and it's not scheduled yet, but it'll be before the work starts next spring. To get some questions, one thing I wanted to mention is Marv did a nice job of relaying to us the concerns that were given to him when the detour was in place. A lot of cut-through traffic in the Mud Lake Wildwood neighborhood through Gonder. There's other cut-through traffic as well, speeding. And so the measures we put in place with extra law enforcement is something that we're already planning to do for next year's work as well. We know there probably will be some cut-through traffic. It might be a little bit different than what it is. We do our best to make sure the detour route is what we emphasize, try to get people to use that as much as possible. Local people that know their way around are going to go their own way. They're, on public roads, they're allowed to do that. Are they allowed to break the law? No. So that's why we think heavily investing in law enforcement is the best way to go, because it's amazing how well-behaved people are and know exactly what to do when a police car is sitting right there. So, people that are speeding and illegally passing and stuff, they know they're doing it wrong, doing something wrong. But so we're already planning for that, but I think that, anything else, Jim? Do you want to take questions? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
This is a two-part thing I'm going to ask. Is there any member of the public that has a question that was not answered? Feel free. Yes, sir, Mr. Caskey. Surprise. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Microphone.
I understand all the detours and most of them were pretty good. My question is, Secor and Silver Springs, that was a disaster.
Yes.
People trying to get off of Secor, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
People were backed up past the golf course. Why didn't a temporary light get put in there like it did right here on the corner?
Yeah, if that was part of the detour route, we would have done something about it. But if we had made that, smooth for people to use with the traffic signal, then why would they take the detour route at all? Like, when I take the short, I live over off Benin Road, and so, I had to come through this, every day as well. And I took that way once just to see what all the hype was about. And it took me longer to go that way. So I think eventually people realize that and balance out their routes and their time schedules, but we can't make improvements on something that's not our detour route.
Yes, that was
Wait a minute,
one
that's-
topic that was discussed, and they heard it loud and proud. And the road commission was present as well. And it just was not in the cards, it was not thought that way. So, but,
Well, I want a better answer, because I didn't understand what she said, why they couldn't do it.
It wasn't
Because
MDOT's
it's not
project
the-
scope,
It's not the
so they're not gonna
detour.
pay for another agency's work to be done. People follow the detour route, they wouldn't have gone to that intersection.
well, it didn't help that there was improvement in front of the high school as well that had it stopped, so people were coming further south and connecting there as well. So it was a two-prong issue from my understanding, talking with the individuals at Long Lake, at the road commission. It was a merging of two major projects that had east-west traffic hindered from their normal travel corridor, so they took the back roads and, well, we have
Right,
a lot
but
of people that are local.
The county wouldn't even go put up a light there?
Nope.
I seen accidents, I was there with accidents, so it was a nightmare. And for them to just say it's not part of their project, somebody's gotta be responsible for that corner.
It's
Yep.
not the detour. You shouldn't be going that way.
Yeah.
You should take the detour and you wouldn't have gotten stuck there.
So we used, I mean,
Secor Road wasn't the detour.
But we're going to
detour.
town.
Right, you should have taken the detour and came out 633 and went
To go to
either,
town?
Uh-huh.
either go 31 or go west Silver Lake Road.
yeah. So, but they did step up law enforcement. We had the special unit of the sheriff's department. We also had the state police that were patrolling the area as well, just to minimize the traffic speed, the illegal passing of automobiles, and for some reason in subdivisions, people don't see red flashing lights on a school bus. So that was some bad situations, so that got headed off pretty well. So we're gonna, like I said, indicated they're gonna hold another public hearing, or public meeting, not hearing, but a public meeting, informational meeting, to, when we get closer, to discuss what additional steps we can take locally to help facilitate the designated detour routes that are more efficient in regards to time.
And Marv, if I may, there's a book, I think it's about that big, that says what you have to have in order to put a traffic light, a stop sign, a yield sign, and a reroute for a project not associated with that corner. The county road commission can't put a stoplight up there for that purpose. They have to do a traffic study based upon the normal traffic that's expected to be there. That was my understanding 5 years ago on the road commission.
That's still true. Yeah.
So they can't just, oh, we think we need it because. It might be needed, but it needs to be justified by what the state statute says. Otherwise, whoever puts that light up is responsible for any injuries or stuff that occur because of it, because it's not needed according to the state or federal standards. Government's so inefficient sometimes.
Very good.
One stop sign would have made a world of difference.
Okay, well,
For
one
the
more.
family.
Yes, sir.
Family questions.
Is anything gonna be done to Riley Road before the winter?
Yeah, so as part of our detour, we went ahead and we did some wedging and paving on Riley Road, as well as a couple of others. If you're referring to, there is some issues with some of the asphalt that was placed on the top coat. So as, you know, being that we're now done with this, we've gotten traffic off of those detour routes. The contractor is taking some time to kind of reevaluate that. And then, yes, there will be a proposed fix to, it has to be done this year because we're starting so early next year, the asphalt plants are probably not gonna get open, so, and they're aware of that.
It's gotta be done this year before the ice and snow freeze.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah.
starts getting heat and,
Yep.
snow plows go by, that building will be almost impassable on the one side.
Yep, agreed.
So, okay.
Are we-
Andy, or
do we-
Pat, I'm sorry.
What's the issue on Riley Road?
It's falling
The
apart.
waving of the asphalt that was put down, of the wedging.
Yeah,
There's starting to
so,
become waves in it.
yeah, it appears on the, it'd be the eastbound lane. It
South side.
appears they may have had a tack issue.
Yes.
So what happens is when you do your wedge, which is to correct the slope of the road, that was done, and then they put what's called a tack layer on it that adheres the top coat to that. It appears there was something maybe not right with that. So the top coat, it appears it's sliding under just normal loading of the traffic. So what the contractor's gonna do is they're gonna go out and they will take cores, they will, you know, cut squares out of it, evaluate what's going on, and we'll define those limits, and they'll, I'm assuming what will happen is they'll mill it off and then they'll pave it back.
Paul, did you have a question? I thought I seen a hand.
No.
Nope. Sherry?
Yeah, I just want to ask Crystal there. You
Chris-
said that the township's going to have to maintain the sidewalk, you said lights, and you said water main, and you said landscaping down at the corner?
Landscaping in the island and the sidewalks that are on the north side of 31 from
Forever?
Fun Country.
Yeah, we agreed to this months ago.
Yeah, on the landscaping, lights, and sidewalk. The issue that came up is we had an engineer's estimate to sit there and run water main on the four corners, talking with the fire department, putting hydrants on, I can't say
The four corners of the circle.
roundabout, but, you know what I'm talking about, on the northeast, northwest, southwest, southeast side of putting a water main there for that. We had an engineer's estimate come in, and there were several engineering changes throughout the design process. And the water main ended up going 12, 14 feet deep in one particular area. And instead of, we're using C900 instead of ductile iron, which was more expensive. I don't know if it is now at this point, but we were gonna lay it underneath while the construction was going on. But it seems that now we're required to put it into a sleeve. And we're, in other locations, we didn't have to put it in the sleeve. But this particular location, we gotta put it in the sleeve, so it came in at 475,000, give or take a couple pennies, compared to the 150 that was an educated estimate. So, and I responded back via email saying, all this other stuff is okay, but this water main, we can't do. So Jennifer looked into it and is trying to figure out what can be done to reduce the cost. And the last I conversed with her, I think she had it down to 290,000, and she was gonna look at it a little bit more. I have not heard back from our engineer at this point in time. So until I heard back, I wasn't gonna bring it to the board until we had the full picture, because I hate to give no response to questions that I don't know or that an engineer doesn't know at this point. So she was gonna work with the plans and how it was done and see what we can do, if there's anything we could do different. Because Hudson was gonna put it on the east side of the intersection to run to their development, but their development's got waylaid for a couple more years because they're still dealing with the residential portion, which doesn't require water. Their commercial and their apartments requires water, and they're not gonna do that for a couple more years. So, and they're not gonna invest the money now. So, there's a couple development plans in place that's creating some issues or wonders what's gonna happen,
Marv,
so.
was it our intent to have those charged with water once they're in, or empty, waiting for future development?
It's same cost either way, charged or uncharged, but there's no sense of putting a hydrant in if we're not gonna have water to it. If I recall that from talking with the chief. I mean, if we're gonna have a fire hydrant, we might as well have water to it.
Let's not be California.
So, at this point, that's all I know at this point in time. I have not heard back from our engineer, so I didn't bring nothing forward. My apologies if that upsets you, but it is what it is. Sir?
So what I'm hearing is you're waiting for the township to sign an agreement. And this water main up there is one of the reasons we're hesitating. The other things are good. Could we go ahead with the agreement without those and add them in? Or?
That is the agreement.
Can we split it? But it'd
Yeah.
be doing it good to agree to the maintenance issues and right away, and then work out the water issue ASAP.
I guess the question I would have on that is, can we agree to that with the water being able to be removed at a later date? If we can't come to an agreement on the price, 'cause I'd hate to say we don't want to do it, if we can, through MDOT, our engineers, other agencies, maybe find some grant money that makes it possible, because I don't think we can come back to you and go, we want to put it in now, after the contracts are. So, could we do the agreement and go, we changed our mind on the water because it's not close?
Yep, I was just gonna say, you work with our contract division, which your agreement's through, and, once it's implemented, they award the contract, and then we can start having discussions with the contractor on that. But until those agreements are signed, they will not award the contract.
Well, I
which
can
means
sign
that-
the agreement for the sidewalks, for the lighting, and for the landscaping. This, from my understanding of this board, we took action on it, how many months ago, Dave?
2 or 3?
Yeah.
Almost
What-
a year.
The water system,
But
I can strike that
Remember
out.
what Andy said, approve it for the high number, and we can bail out if we can't come up with the money. She says that's allowed.
Yeah, basically, we don't prepay for anything. We only pay after the work's done. So if we negotiate something.
Microphone, please, so people at home can hear.
I'm sorry. I was saying, we don't we're not, like, the agreement is not saying I'm gonna give you the money right now. It's saying we agree to pay for this once the work is done. So if we enter into negotiations with a contractor and come up with something different or decide to take it out, then you would not be on the hook. Even if you signed the agreement, you wouldn't have to pay for anything because we wouldn't have done the work. And that's the way we do it too. We pay for the work that was done.
is this board willing to do that?
Marv, I'm going to make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to enter into the agreement with MDOT under the condition we can remove any aspect of the project along the way.
Support.
We got a motion by Merrick, supported by Baganowski, to authorize the supervisor to enter into, or to sign the contract with the provisions stated. Any discussion?
Will there be a date that we have to decide we don't want to do the water? If we wait until after that, we're on the hook for it?
From my understanding, we got until spring.
There will probably be a date. We can try to, I don't know what that will be because the contractor will want to order the material and he'll probably give us the date and say, we need to know by this date because we're going to need to order the material. It's one of the first things that's going to get done in the spring. So I'm assuming it'll be sooner than later that we'll want to know, but yeah.
Okay, I'll bring that back. Once I know, I'll send it out, and if need be, call a special meeting.
Sorry
Okay,
to
any
spring
other
this on-
discussion?
Oh, sorry.
Are we gonna do a roll call on this?
Yeah.
Or all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
Motion carries 6-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? You already had your two.
I do have one more, Marv.
Okay, we have, well, sorry, Andy. Yes, sir.
It says he's better looking than me.
I appreciate you guys being here. If we could, I would like to see more of this, like I discussed with you as well. Inland Lake's getting a little bit, Blair's getting a little bit. We are shutting down all of Green Lake Township. I would really like more communication with this board. I love hearing from Marv, but I shouldn't be hearing from Marv about your the winter, I get it, not much is gonna change, but when we're getting closer to this project, I'd really like to see more.
We can do that. Yep.
Yes, and they've, Krista and crew and Dan and them have been spectacular when I've sat down and met with them in person, went over the concerns that were voiced by many of you in the audience.
That's probably the lead up to this last one was a little.
Yeah. So we're in a rhythm now, and Krista's been responsive. I'm thinking about calling her, she calls me. So, I mean, that's how well she's doing, so I gotta give
She's
kudos in that
outside his
regard.
window, he's grabbing the phone.
I appreciate it, I just,
Yes, oh, absolutely, and I found out information from residents saying, hey, they moved my mailboxes. They did, who? You know, those type of things, but Andy, you said you had one more?
Yeah, the only other thing I've got is there's a lot of road work that's been done to accommodate for the detour, and some of those roads are starting to show some wear, whether it's poor craftsmanship that occurred before the project or because of the additional traffic. When this whole project is over, are the roads that are directly and indirectly affected, Wildwood, going to be taken care of, or are some of those roads just too bad and only the roads that are directly related to the detour are going to be maintained or brought back up to or better than the previous condition before the project?
We don't have any additional funding right now to do anything extra. That's not to say that the answer is no, because I think some of what you're saying is fair. We'll just have to talk about it, I guess, afterwards and see what we can do.
Yeah.
A lot of the pavement and things you see out there that we did this year is temporary. Like on US 31, a lot of that will just be all ripped up and will be brand new in a thicker, better state. Now, anything on the detour route, there were some like extra lanes that were added and some radiuses that were improved, and that is temporary pavement as well that we are planning to take out at the end of the project. But as far as like repaving Riley, only that defect is the only thing that we're gonna do, and the contractor's gonna pay for that because that was their error.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a little follow-up on that statement. Some of the improvements that have been done through the detour route, I understand there's cost associated with removing that, and I'm trying to work with the road commission to leave it, enhance it at a future date, because it just doesn't make sense to put it down and tear it back out when it's improved the road anyways. And the Wildwood area, Gonder Road and Mud Lake Road and all that there, as I've expressed at our meeting, is that was paid for through the residents of those subdivisions there through a special assessment district. And so they paved to turn it from dirt road, gravel road, into a paved road. Now it's severely impacted due to the detour. Well, not the detour, if it was followed, it'd been fine, but all the locals and the Google Maps and Waze or whatever dictates this is an alternate route, and we tried to work with them,
Yep.
but their software, everybody uses it, so it goes away the following day. So I'm trying to work with that to save the cost of removal and perhaps utilize the savings or part of the savings for off detour route improvements. Still trying to work out those intricacies, so just we're doing what we can to sit there and keep the improvements that we have, albeit temporary per se, but hopefully we can keep it and turn it into a permanent. Other than the streetlights, I understand the stoplights and that are rented, so they're not owned, so they'll be removed, but we're still working with Blair Township on that light on 633 Euchre Road there. That seems to have minimized some of our accidents, if I recall. I don't recall the chief or staff, the emergency services crew responding there to severe crashes. The only thing is the timing light as you're heading west, crossing 633 down Euchre, it's a 3-car, maybe 2.5-car light timing. So if we can enhance that to at least 6 cars, that'd be great.
Okay, so The state that everything's in now, like the temporary traffic signal by the library and down at
Carlin?
Carlin, those will be flashing all winter. The road commission gave us permission to keep the light operating at 6:33 at Euchre, because they're gonna count traffic and see if it meets warrants with the detour not in effect. And if it does, then we're gonna allow that to stay permanent.
So drive through there often.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the other ones are planned to come out, yes, at the
Yeah,
end of the job.
and, you know, I'm working with legislators as well to see, okay, even though they reduce all the funding to a lot of essential, other than the roads, congratulations, by the way.
But not us.
Trying to get some stipend in there as well for some of the enhancements here. Been talking with the chair and that of the subcommittee, so I'm pulling out all stops.
Yeah,
And that was gonna be my thought, was what can we do to help you if there's a funding issue? Because we can request through MTA, our legislative liaison there, or our relationships we have with the variety of legislators in Lansing to maybe help. We need to know if there's something we can do to help you guys get the funding to make the roads right.
okay.
Thank you.
Can
Yep.
I ask a question?
Oh, Judy.
I use all the time, I'm sorry.
Yep, you're done, Andy.
Okay, I'm one of the residents in Wildwood. First day of the construction, I drove home and had a bunch of people standing at the end of my driveway, not very happy.
Oh, it was
And
you.
knocking on my doors and texting and calling through this whole project. So my question is, are you going to do better signage or put signage in at the beginning or before the project starts in the spring like you did, you know, not through traffic, no through traffic, or are you going to continue to do that for the next phases too, so that we don't have that traffic in there?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of mixed feedback about the signs that
Oh,
say no
yes.
through traffic. Because technically it's a public road and we really shouldn't have put those signs up, is what I'm hearing. It's very difficult to enforce. The police did try to enforce it, and it's a very complicated way to enforce that kind of thing. So I don't know about the signs. I'm willing to keep talking about them to see what's appropriate, but I do think what a lot of residents told me too, they didn't seem to help at all. I don't know if that's true.
No, and then I think you need to get your money back for the extra money you paid for the state police. We had better patrol before you announced that you were adding extra patrol in
Oh,
there. So we did
Okay.
better before that, so you might want to get a refund on that.
Well, we've seen them out there. They were actually patrolling the whole project for us, not just that.
Well, they were
Yeah.
mostly on 31.
Okay,
But, you know, we've got a lot of elderly people, a lot of young kids that are in that subdivision. We happen to live right where the acceleration point and the passing point is as you're going into that subdivision. To be honest with you, I'm very surprised that no one got hit or killed. There was cars going through that subdivision at 60 miles an hour. At dark is when it gets to be the worst. I now have a better appreciation for these people that live on the highway. We had people, and I cannot believe that much traffic is on the road all night long. And, you know, so we haven't slept at my house for this whole project because we've had cars waking us up all night. However, the biggest issue I have is, like Marv said, we already paid to have this road, all of the roads in that subdivision paved. They now are falling apart, and then by the time next summer rolls around, I'm sure the same people are going to go through there, which they may even continue now because now they know the little secret detour, so they don't have to go to the light. But those roads are going to fall apart, and as a homeowner that already paid for those roads once, I do not feel that we should have to pay for them again, that there should be something put into place. They also, with that being said, the roads need to be lined. There needs to be double yellow all the way through, and the white lines need to be put down. I don't know if that's a road commission situation or your situation, but I think that will slow the traffic. At least maybe they won't pass in there. So
Her
you know.
office is right next to mine, so you see what I gotta live with. Thank you.
So just a few things moving forward so that I don't have to come, I mean, my husband's here tonight. We've had a lot of people at our house and a lot of calls. You know, they know that there's nothing I can do about it, but they don't know where else to go. They're upset, they're angry, they're afraid that something bad is gonna happen, so.
Yeah.
And I get it. I know that you can't shut the road down, but, you know, I think we need to maybe think of a little bit better planning, you know, for the next phases.
Yeah. And something permanent, like a new stop sign for, a lot of people ask for like a stop sign where Wildwood meets Gonder. Right now, there's nothing there.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
yield sign. So when you're coming in off of Gonder Road, there's a yield sign that tells you to yield to the traffic coming off of Wildwood. I don't think a stop sign is going to really matter there because they don't pay attention to it. They don't even pay attention to the yield sign.
But
And there's a
things
speed
like-
study request for North Gonder
Oh.
and Wildwood as
Yeah.
well, so trying to work with the road commission on that. The law has changed on how we can participate, but it's, from my understanding, it's still the 80% factor. You know, 80% of people that are traveling at 60 miles an hour is not gonna get it down to 25 miles an hour.
Well, and you know, to be honest with you, in the area that they want, that 25, you're already slowing down because you got to, well, most of us, slow down to make that corner to go on to Wildwood. So I don't think that that's really going to make much of a difference. By the time you get in that little section, you're already slowing down because you know you've got to make the turn. So,
It's very complicated for us to try to do anything permanent on a road that hasn't been designated as a detour for this project. Because when we did our project plans, they get sent through a rigorous review, like environmental, NEPA, and that route was never reviewed. And so any kind of, like, something that's on a detour route, it's easier for us to do something with. But that's not to say we have a good relationship with the road commission. We have a contract with them to maintain our roads. They maintain our roads for us, plow our roads. There could be something creative we could try to work out. Like Marv's idea was saving funding. I'm not gonna promise anything, but it's creative. It's something we can think about and try to do something about, because I understand the concerns, so.
Yeah. Well, I greatly appreciate your understanding. I mean, you've been very cooperative.
yes.
So please don't take this personally. It is
It's hard
the
not
system.
to. I live here too, and I drive through it every day, so I feel like you guys are my neighbors.
Very
But,
good.
yeah.
Well, and you've
Paul?
been great. I mean, if there's been any issues and anybody's contacted you, I mean, you've been spot on and you've gotten right back to, I know that you've been talking to one of the leaders in our subdivision, and so, you know, thank you for doing that,
Yeah.
because
And Dan's,
I know that you're busy, so.
I'm not gonna forget Dan, no matter how hard I try.
Dan's great.
But Paul, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did.
Question?
Right up here at the intersection of Riley and J. Manny Park, where, when they finished the tunnel, they striped that left turn lane to make no sense at all. I don't know
Yeah.
what the purpose of that is, but since I am a bike rider back and forth to State Park or around the lake, there's no shoulder anymore for a bike, so caught me off guard a few times.
Yeah,
So you
it's-
bump the road over.
Mhm.
Oh, it's for the truck turning there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tractor
Radius.
trailers.
Yeah.
It's for the overturn when a truck has to make that movement. Yeah.
And
That's
they
why the
still-
white lines are back. If you park over that white line, you don't trigger the stoplight to turn.
Yeah, I'm not
And
sure
your
about that,
park,
But I certainly stop at the white light. It makes no sense. I've never seen striping like that. Means don't park there, don't
Yes.
make that
Uh-huh.
left in there.
Yeah, don't use it as a left turn.
And the
lane. Yeah.
semis are still having a hard time. That really isn't a big enough turn for them either.
and
Yeah,
they've got it,
that pole.
when you pull up to that light, that people have to stop at that stop bar, which is the white bar, because they still, there was a video a truck driver put up that somebody was over that white line. He was just barely able to make that turn to
Yeah.
go into that yellow stripe section, so his trailer didn't take out the light pole.
Yeah, but it's not the white line on Riley. It's
The yellow.
Yeah.
the striped line that took over the bike lane.
On J. Matty.
By widening it out.
Yeah.
So now there's
So-
no bike lane inside, so I worry about kids walking and everything else there.
Yeah, it's valid.
And
Yeah.
also, I was gonna add that when it's dark, which everything else looks pretty good, but surprisingly, J. Manny Parkway to Tom's didn't get striped at all, so it's just a pitch dark black road.
That's the road commission. I've been working on that as well. And DDA's been looking at street lighting. but we're looking at the electrical contractor for the lights up at the roundabout and seeing if we could get a deal with them, save mobilization costs if they can continue
Yeah.
south to J. Matty.
Yeah,
Or, I'm sorry,
Riley.
down J. Matty to Riley.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's just all in the timing, so
So
there's a handful of things going on.
we've been constructing through Traverse City for the last couple of years, and something that they did there, which I thought was really good, is in social media, the community would highlight businesses to say, you know, support this local business during construction. Like, we know it's inconvenient, but these guys need all our support to like, and then the different Facebook pages or social media pages would, like, share their posts on there
Yeah,
to try to
we
get that
have
word
an
out.
active business
Okay.
group that posts about every 2 hours in regards
Okay.
to that, saying,
What
hey,
is that group?
you know, we're hitting, TCH Gear is one
Yeah.
that's been very prominent. We have the, you know, some of the Caskey Funny Farms information that they share. Did I guess that one correctly, or state that correctly?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, yeah.
the Funny Farm,
So
okay.
you're already
the-
doing that, is what I'm hearing. Your guys are already doing that. Okay, good.
Yeah, so we do have an active group out there, also Friends of Green Lake and
Overheard and Interlochen.
Interlochen,
Okay.
and so we're promoting, and I
Good.
try to
And then we
promote.
have a Facebook page too, so, and the website, so we try to promote as much as we can
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
Because
So
we've been
then-
hit since the
COVID.
COVID time. We've always had something, like the state park
Right.
shut down for half of it for a year, then it shut down completely for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems, as what was stated, you know, the Interlochen Green Lake just been getting their backside kicked a little bit. But we bonded together and we've come together and we're gonna survive this. I mean, we will. But sometimes we just vent as well. So I greatly appreciate your comments. Any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Just
wha-
make a statement, is there any way to get Google on board with the detour routes?
Yes, and within a day, their analytics, or whatever it's called, yep, switches it back.
So 5
So what you
people
need to
follow
do-
the fake route.
what you need
The
to
phone
do is-
goes, this is how you go.
Just put it on your Google map and keep driving the detour every day, a few times, so that it goes that way.
And then
Yeah.
keep hitting road closed at the corners where people are trying to turn in.
But, yes, we have,
I've been a resident of Wildwood since '88, so I can appreciate you and concerned about the roads and the speed. It's been crazy. My wife has been passed twice in those S curves out of the swamp. It's yet to happen to me. I just want to thank this gentleman behind me for his effort. It's been tremendous.
very good. Thank you.
Our insurance guy?
No,
Thank you, Krista.
Bruce Dodger. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thanks.
Okay, Chief, we have your written report. Is there anything you'd like to add or explain on the display that you have?
Yep, I got a couple things. So I did bring the Kubota down. So we got that box mounted on yesterday. The only thing we have left is we just got to get a receiver hitch put on the brush truck. Right now my vehicle is the only tow vehicle we have for that, but it'll be going into service here. Also, update on the engine. They're going down to do a final on that in 6 days. And that's in Florida, so he's saying delivery should be in November. So we'll finalize and have financing for the board in November's meeting. As far as activity, we finalized our contract standbys. We did Andy and I flew the drone for the fireworks competition again in Blair Township. And we also completed the Ironman triathlon, as we've done, I don't know, this third or fourth year out in Benzie County. We've been busy with a couple structure fires, one in Green Lake Township, one in Mayfield Township. We did have an extrication. We had a pin in last week on 633 not really, I don't think that the detour had anything to do with that. That could have happened wherever those drivers would have met each other. Currently, we've got students in, so the fire training center is finalizing the EMT class, and we do have one student in that, and the crews are happy to have those students in. We had emergency services day last weekend at Tom's, and then we've got the Halloween party coming up the 31st from 6 to 8. So we'll be having that again. And I think that was all the updates I had.
Very good. Any questions from this board?
The Kubota looks great. You guys did
Thanks.
a good job.
It's a pretty red now, chief. Good job.
Yeah, we vinyled that, wrapped that ourselves, so it went from the Kubota orange to our red, so, yeah, looks good,
I learned some new words from you. Thank you.
yeah.
Any members of the public? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Yep.
Get out of here was one of them.
I don't see any other, we have the zoning administrative report. Any questions of that? Great, hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. Here's an opportunity for any individual to address this board without interruption, and unfortunately or fortunately without response from this board. This is your opportunity to speak to the board for 3 minutes. If you'd like to speak, I'd ask you to go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and direct your comments to this board. Is there any member of this public that wishes to do so at this point in time? We'll do age before beauty.
Greg Caskey Senior, 11717 US 31. I just want to say, I know a bunch of us have been calling and complaining and not happy with what was going on with the detours and everything else. And I just want to say thank you for bringing MDOT in tonight and for all the work you've done to try to solve some of our problems. Thank you.
Huge thank you to Supervisor Radke. He has overstepped his boundaries a great deal for
As
this because he
usual.
got tired of listening to me complain. So thank you, Mr. Radke.
Yes, thank you. Ma'am?
Good evening. My name is Donna Ross. I reside at 8790 Treswood Trail, Traverse City. This is more of a thank you, if you could please, to pass on to Johnson's Outdoors. This year, when he did our grading on our road, he has done an outstanding job, and I have gotten more compliments on the road this year than I have had in the last couple. So a big thank you goes out to Joe and his crew, and of course to you guys for allowing us to have the special assessment tax. That's all.
You hear that? Thanks for the tax.
It's on tape.
I'm going to adjust my hearing aids. I'm not sure I understood that. Any other public comment? Thank you. Then we'll move on to the next. Postponed business would be the Treasurer Bank rec issues. Andy, a brief overview update if possible, please.
We're just finishing up a few things still. Hopefully everything will be done end of this month for getting lined up to where we need to be. There's a couple of journal entries that are happening still. We make one journal entry, have to make another one to make a correction. And I'm waiting on Platt Moran to make sure that I'm making the entries that they want so as not to confuse things. Because I've got 3 different accountants I've talked to who have all told me 3 different ways to do it. So our auditor said what they're doing is one of the many right ways to do it. But if you do what the auditor says, you do what she says, or you do what another accountant says, they're going to be fighting each other. So you're just going to keep chasing numbers. So we've got last year closed up, ready to go for the audit. It's just making sure going forward that everything is in the appropriate buckets. If you look at the treasurer's report today, you'll see that we found some of the monies that were sitting in the fire escrow account It's now down to 56,000 from 72,000. Monies had been paid out. They were just taken, the checks were taken out of a different account. We just had to do some journal entries to catch them over. And it's a matter of going through, looking at things line by line. And we're getting real close to being done. So we're not quite done with Plant Moran for now, but we're getting closer to having everything finalized. And some of it are pennies on $24 million.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, we'll move on to new business. I see Mr. Kevin Manners here from the Manor Group, and the information is in the packet. So, welcome, Kevin. Thank you for traveling.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Could you give us a brief overview of what increases and options that we might have by
Sure,
chance?
sure. So, yeah, thanks for taking some time to talk about this. Health insurance is always the biggest driver of every conversation for employee benefits. You know, this year has been troubling overall. I can talk about the market a little bit, but the bottom line is that health insurance cost is not getting cheaper. Price of eggs went up, price of cars went up, price of medical has gone up. So I'd say medical has gone up dramatic compared to, you know, everything else. We're seeing renewals that are significant. Yours came in actually at the lower end of what we're seeing some of the renewals, so I was fairly happy with things that way. We did quite an extensive analysis and pared down some of the options so we can just discuss them here tonight. You're in a current Blue Cross and Blue Shield PPO plan that has a $2,500 deductible, but it's a health savings account structure. So it's really a nice rich plan because there's also the contributions for the HSAs, right? So I'm going to just focus on the insurance component. That plan went up 15%. And just for a reference, that trend, if you look at like over the decades, health insurance goes up in the range of 10 to 12% per year. That's the typical trend line. So 15% is high. We're having renewals in the 20 and 25% range sometimes. Fortunately, I haven't had them, but I've even heard some 32 and 38% numbers. So I mean, 15 I'll take all day long. That's not a bad number, but it's still a chunk. So you know, no matter who you are, you have to look at that and analyze it. I always try to come to the table with other solutions. Last year, when we looked at our notes, Priority Health is one of the other dominant players in this marketplace. There really wasn't an appetite. We had some bad reviews, I guess, from the board and from others on Priority Health. So they're not being shown on this spreadsheet, but if you look at the spreadsheet, I don't know what page that's on. The number, they're not numbered here, but this is the one that has the plan designs. There's a couple sheets that have individual pricing on them. This is the one that has the group as a total that I'm looking at. You can kind of see the Blue Cross plan, current plan, where the monthly spend is $19,710 at the bottom left corner. The column that has the yellow that says the 2025 renewal for December 1st will show a spend of $22,696. So that's the 15% increase that I'm referring to. Right next to that, you'll see a plan. If you look up at the top, it shows you Blue Care Network. So this is the Blue Cross HMO option that's available, and it's the exact same product design for the most part. There's a couple variables, but the Blue Care Network would be a very close structure, I guess, in terms of how it would work. That would pretty much bring your premiums back to flat. So when you're in a PPO like you currently have, you've got the broadest network of doctors and hospitals. There's no referrals. If you go out of network, there's benefits. If you looked at that Blue Care Network as an option, you have to stay in network, first of all. There are no out-of-network benefits, so it's a tighter program that way. But it is also a referral-based program, so you have to get referrals to see specialists, for example. So, you know, that they proactively manage care. They're a health maintenance organization is designed around trying to keep people healthy on the front end and not going to specialists, willy-nilly. They want to make sure you're working with your primary care before you go to other doctors. So I'd say more freedom in the current plan you have, more doctors and hospital availability. But Blue Care Network, that being said, Blue Care Network does have, really good coverage. There's nothing wrong with it. Personally, I'm in the Blue Care Network plan. I don't care for the referral component. Some people get irritated by it. I do. If I want to go to a chiropractor, I don't want to have to go see my regular doctor to get that permission. But certainly it's an option, and it brings that premium right back to, square one. Actually, it saves a little bit of money. It saves about $4,000 over the course of a year. So it reduces the premium negative 1%, 1.5%. The last two columns, you'll see are orange. There is a new sheriff in town, so to speak. So HAP, Health Alliance Plan, they're out of Henry Ford Hospital down in Southeast Michigan. Probably nobody in this room has a lot of experience with them. I would tell you they are a great company. There probably is a few. You're going to hear a lot about them this year. They've entered the space in the employer plans as well as Medicare. I personally have had a lot of experience with them. My primary location in Saginaw, they have been in for years, and so we have seen HAP dominate that market as well as all the way through Detroit and so forth. Flint, that whole east side. They are making strides to come into these counties, so they go all the way up to Petoskey and so forth. So Grand Traverse has got good coverage. As we were talking about it, they do have a couple options on the table here. That first column is almost the same as what you have. It's also a PPO. So it'd be the same type of coverage, the open network, you'd have out-of-network benefits, same deductible, so forth, and it rolls your premium back 5%. So it's a 5% savings to do the same program as what the Blue Cross and Blue Shield PPO is. Now, and I try to be frank about things. I was when we kind of had our little committee meeting. HAP's new, HAP's new to the marketplace. It's not as well known. I mean, I think it would function just fine. However, there's always, whenever something's new, I don't care how much I like it because I'm used to it. There's getting the doctors and hospitals and everybody else, on board with using them regularly. So, it is an option. I suggest that, in a group setting like this, that, might give it a year before you really make a good consideration. HAP is not, I've not seen them come into a market and undercut the competition and then subsequently raise premiums dramatically. So we see that with some companies. I hate to mention companies, but there's one in particular that's been in and out of the group market in the state of Michigan for, 3 times in the last 3 decades. That they come in, they undercut everybody, they take market share, and then within 2 years they're up 10, 20% higher than everybody else. So I have not seen that with HAP, so I don't think they're in that game at all. I think that they're definitely here to stay. So that's my 2 cents. I would see that it would work fine, but at the same time, I would like to see it grow some popularity before I would recommend them heavily, at this point in this area. So I just come with options. I guess more than anything, I want to make sure I'm answering questions as well.
Yeah, because if we're going to move to a different, move from Blue Cross Shield to Blue Cross Blue Shield, to HAP, we need to do that pretty close to yesterday, just because of the paperwork and all that. But if we continue with the renewal of Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then individuals can start inquiring with their family doctor or whatnot to see if they take HAP.
HAP would probably not be as big an issue with many of the primary doctors under the hospital networks. That would be included pretty automatically. I would see the issue with potentially the specialists that might not be directly affiliated with Munson Hospital, for example, because they'd have to have their own contracts. I'm sure HAP is working diligently to gain those, specialists and doc offices that are not part of the Munson network. So, but I don't have a good gauge yet because they're brand new here, right? So, the one that I have experience with is up in Petoskey, and because the doctor's office is also in urgent care, they constantly have a problem with coding. So it's an up north thing. They don't have a lot of availability for urgent care. So a regular primary doctor has also runs an urgent care, and it always shows up at HAP coded incorrectly. So it's always a problem with getting claims paid for that. So that's, I'm imagining those kind of little nuances, you know, for this area as well until some of the bugs get worked out. But like I say, it's overall, it should be fine, but I'm sure that there's going to be some speed bumps as we get used to it.
So, okay, Andy.
So you said HAP's new up here. Is this their first year?
This is.
And do you have any of your clients that are with them now?
So
Up
not
here?
Not in this network, no. And if you look too, I should have pointed this out. It's a January 1st effective date, so we can't even do it prior to January 1st because they're not
Here
they're not here yet. Right? They're here January 1st, not December 1st. So yeah. So I mean, in the state of Michigan, I will tell you, I'm the #1 HAP provider. Our agency is #1 from probably Bay City North. We do more group business with them than any other agency.
But see, the reason I ask is you can't tell us what the relationship will be here yet because there isn't one. So
Right.
this would be probably something good to look at them for what is the next year look
Right.
like for.
Right. Like I say, I can imagine that it is just fine 85-95% of the time, but I just know because I have clients that are downstate, businesses that have branches up here, and that's what I've run across, like my example in Petoskey. You know, that just was it's always been a rub because
Right.
of the way coding is. So I can just see there being specialists that are going to have issues with HAP until they're, you know, used to dealing with them on a regular basis. If it was a one-on-one thing, like I'm going to tell you, Medicare, for example, we're recommending HAP, even though we don't know, you know, the overall market yet. One-on-one, I can look at a person's doctor and we can coach them and stuff like that. But on a group basis, I think there's too many variables. I'd let it kind of simmer for a minute, I think.
And then you said that the time is January 1st. We're currently in December.
Right.
As our renewal.
Correct.
Is that's when we enter into the contract to do it to get the pricing locked in? When is the coverage year for us currently?
January 1st to December 31st.
So we just make the payment early?
Right. Well, so like, you mean to switch, you're saying?
No, like right now, when it says here.
December
at
1st is our
December
coverage
1st is
date.
our
Yeah.
But that's not when the plan resets, is it?
So premium resets 12/1. Your benefit year is January 1st.
So if I go to the doctor in November, it's going to be the same deductible as if I go in December?
Correct.
Okay. It's been so confusing for the last 4 or 5 years on how this renewal deductible resell that.
Right. So whenever there's a change in plan and we're not on a January 1st cycle, that's where the hiccups happen. Either deductibles increasing or plans changing and not getting credit correctly. I know that's where the hiccup happened a few years back. Staying where you're at doesn't create a hiccup with December, but switching a plan from like Blue Cross to HAP, doing it on January 1st makes it a lot easier because your benefit year starts over anyway.
Gotcha. So that the change of plans could cause the issue.
Change in plans would cause the issue if we did it mid-year, like a December 1st date or July 1st date. Like I have companies that do it all year long. With these two carriers, the benefit year is always January 1st. But if you went to Priority Health and you did it in December 1st, they actually have a benefit year starting December 1st, unless you ask for an exception. So these two we wouldn't have that issue with.
So if we just renew, we're not going to have any issue if
No.
the magic December.
Correct. No. If you just renew as is, you're fine. There's not any hiccups that way. You know, if you went to Blue Care Network, because it's within the Blues family, that would still be a very easy transition. We wouldn't have any big hiccups with that. If we went to HAP, we'd be looking at a January 1st effective. It wouldn't affect benefits, but we do need time for enrollment because you're talking about all new, you know, employer contracting and each employee having to re-enroll and stuff like that. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? So with the recommendation that I heard is to continue with the renewal of Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it gives us time to investigate the HAP coverage that we could take a look at next year's and keep these rates and see what it increases next year, see if HAP is on track to be wanting to stay here, or if they're gonna jack the rates.
Yeah. And I
To be
think,
honest, I'm just,
yeah, I think HAP's gonna be fine in the long run. I just know that anything new like this, especially where, you know, people's health insurance is a big deal, and it's, you know, to make a change without having a little more exposure, I think would be a little early to do that, so.
very
I'll
good.
make the motion that we renew with Blue Cross Blue Shield with our current policy.
I'll support that. At that 15.15%, right?
What's your last name? Oh, yeah.
Radke.
Okay, we have a motion by Kramer, supported by Merrick, to renew with Blue Cross Blue Shield for 1 year. Any discussion?
Is the HAP the equivalent of Blue Cross Blue Shield as far as being allowed to go out of the network?
It is, yeah, there's in and out of network benefits. It's just, you know, it's their network, not the Blue Cross network, so I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but if Blue Cross has 98% of the doctors, because there are some doctors who don't take any insurance these days, and so like if Blue Cross has 98% of them, HAP probably has right now 95% of them or 90% of them or something like that. You know, it's there, so that those would be out of network charges then, which would increase. There'd be double the deductibles and so forth. That would be costly for people if they were out of network.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes. Do you have a listing of all the doctors and what they take in our area? Is that something you can provide to us when we do this insurance?
So the best advice I could give you is go to their website. That's they don't provide. They used to provide manual, you know, big phone books of all the different providers.
Right, the
but
area.
they don't do that anymore. It's all driven to the websites now. So hap.org is where I would recommend you to look at, or even Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And if you have the Blue Cross plan now, I would say, you know, make sure you're registered, because then on that website there's the Find a Doctor tool. You can access
Right.
it, Find a Doctor, anyways for Blue Cross. That's the most accurate, up to date. A lot of people say, well, call the doctor's office. I'd say don't do that. Go to the website. Call customer service, but the website's the most accurate.
But the HAP website, like this all comes up next
Yep.
year, the HAP website, we could go to it.
And look.
And see, we wouldn't have to go with an individual doctor. We could look and see if 80% of our doctors in this area are going to accept it or not.
Yeah, you can search, I think, like in a radius, usually it's 10 miles or 20 miles, and all of the doctors would come up.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can search specifically, and I would encourage you to do that, especially for the specialists. That would be
Well, if we went and, we're gonna stay with what we have right now, but if we went with HAP, and all of a sudden there's no doctors up here, I know I hit dentist office up here that doesn't accept what we just changed to, and that it would be something that we as a board should know before we make that decision, as to what the availability of doctors are that would accept that coverage.
With the dentist, though, I can attest, it doesn't take them long to send you a check. You sit there and send a bill, and boom, it's,
If you're going to
Right.
out of network dentist, if there's, if you got great point. On the dental, if you're not getting reimbursement, there's a method to do that.
yeah, same thing
Right.
with optical.
I think the longest I waited was 6 days for that check to be in my mailbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
think
the,
Unum has had better coverage too than Delta. We haven't had any,
yeah,
our dentist
good.
takes it.
It did, same thing with optical.
yeah,
Yes.
Trade more, but.
yeah.
Any other questions in that regards? I do want to go on record, Kevin, that I want to thank you and Matt. We reach out to you too many times in a week, and you've been very responsive, you've been attentive, you've attended. So I want to give you, Matt, and the Manor Group
Thank you.
kudos.
Thank you.
I've talked to you more about in the last couple months than I did with our previous representative in years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad or good, but you're very informative. I ask a lot of questions. Judy does as well, and you guys have been Johnny on the spot. So please accept a thank you from
I will
my
pass that along.
perspective
Yep.
as well. I'm not sure if Judy has anything to add or detract.
I just want the board to realize that, I mean, Matt and Kevin have met with us probably 10 times more than we ever met with our other insurance agent. Whenever we've sent an email or had a phone call to them, within 10 minutes, we have an answer. So I was a little leery with changing agents, but been very happy. You guys have done great.
Thank you. Thank you, appreciate that.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call it, please.
West,
Yes.
McDonald, Biondo, Merrick,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes.
Well, I will put Matt to work on working on the renewal.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you,
yeah,
Kevin.
All right. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Yep. The next item on our agenda, motion carries. Next item is the Planning Commission appointment. We do have a young lady named Lindsay Komerska Roel. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. She is a longtime resident of the township, and her husband just built a house off Carl Inn Road. And she would like to fill the vacant position on our planning commission, and I am making that recommendation that we appoint Lindsay.
I'll make a motion to appoint Lindsay Komerska Royal to the Planning Commission for the term of,
Is
Three-
she filling
3
a
years.
term?
No, it's an expired term. Let's see, it's 25/12, 31/28.
ish.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second it.
We have a motion by Merrick, supported by Biondo, to confirm Supervisor's recommendation of Lindsay Komerska Roel to the Planning Commission. Any discussion? All roll call,
Yeah, I got
it looks
discussion.
like.
Yeah, we're doing roll calls tonight. I like it.
Call for
McDonald.
discussion and then I get ignored.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
I asked for discussion.
okay.
So don't we have stacks of these applications of people that want to be on boards?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I thought
no.
we were soliciting and trying to, this guy dude wanted to be on one of these things and
Yes, he didn't want to be on this one, he wanted to be on the,
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Recs. He's on it.
yes,
Okay, so we're,
yeah.
this
We
is,
don't have
did you have to
stacks.
solicit this one or did it come in on its own?
I solicited, I've
Right,
been.
so we don't have a stack of willing people who want to do these
No.
thankless jobs.
I even asked some individuals sitting in this room if they had interest.
All right, that's my only question.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it soliciting, I would call it begging. He has to
Okay.
beg.
That happens.
Yeah,
No.
roll call it, please.
McDonald. Biondo.
Yes.
Merrick.
Yes.
Biganowski.
Yes.
Kramer, yes. Radke.
Yes,
And West.
Yes.
thank you. That concludes new business. Is there any board discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to any questions on correspondence. The only thing I'm going to add on correspondence is you received an independent email from me today on the timber management plan proposal. I sent that out as an easy reference, so here in a couple months, when it comes back, it'll be easy for you to find if you can't remember the month that we talked or had it in our packet. That's the only reason why I sent it out, is fact check in the future.
So Marv, I included the Discover Card merchant settlement statements. I don't understand those. I don't know if the board wants me to pursue that or if that looks scamish.
No, it's real. Everybody that took cards got one of these, so, I think you were taking cards. Do you take Discover for taxes?
We do.
All right. Go online, fill it out.
Perfect.
Isn't there
Trying to
two?
figure out if
Yeah, there's two different ones.
it's cents or it's gonna be times.
No, this is a big one. I'm not familiar with it. It's not a small one.
Board agree I should do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's you, okay. Now, with that being done, we'll move on to public comment. This is again an opportunity for the public to approach the podium, state their name and address, and limit their comments to 3 minutes towards the board. Is there any member of the audience that wishes to exercise this second public comment period?
Wow, you guys still wait?
Seeing
Are you
none,
feeling all right?
I'm going to
Well,
adjourn.
before we adjourn, I do just want to remind the board members, our audit does start October 27th, so they will be here that last week of October, just so the board is aware.
October 22nd.
Yep.
There's gonna be a ribbon cutting down at the tunnel, I think the week Friday for half an hour, 8:30 to 9 in the morning. It's primarily to help raise funds for our trail.
Oh, they're gonna hit us up while they're doing the cutting, the ribbon cutting?
We're gonna
your
hit them
No,
up.
we're trying to raise money for our trail from the airport to the corner.
Yeah, their board members will be present at this ribbon cutting ceremony. Some of them do have some
Checkbooks.
additional funds that some people think, so.
So bring your
They
checkbook,
better
Dave.
hustle to get done by the 18th, whatever, the 24th, whenever this is.
Yeah. So with that, hearing nothing else, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 6:45.
So moved.
Oh,
I didn't get to say no. You
What was the audit date?
circumvented the vote.
22nd or 30th?
The audit is the 27th.
22nd?
27.
27.